All right, I was watching M26 Lemon Grenade this morning. I don't watch him all the time, but I do watch him occasionally. Don't have an issue with the guy. Don't know the guy. Maybe commented a couple times on his channel, and I don't think he's ever even responded back to comments. There was a big ordeal a while back where he actually had to turn comments off because he was getting people literally trolling him, people trying to dox him, people threatening him, and I don't agree with that kind of crap at all. If you disagree with somebody, tell them in the comments, but to go that far, that's just too much. But he does put out a lot of good information about AKs, and especially on building them. Although he does rail the hell out of people that use screws or the wrong rivets, so if he ever watched one of my videos, he'd probably just lose his mind. But we're talking about AKs and ARs, which is better. This battle's been going on forever. Look, they've both been around over 50 years. They both have been proven, tested, and proven, and tested, and proven, and tested in combat situations over and over and over. Now, I do tend to respect his opinion more than others because he is a combat veteran. He has had to use a firearm for his own protection and to remove threats. 90% of the people that comment or watch his videos, my videos, or anybody else's are not a combat veteran. They don't know what it's like to be in that situation. I'm not a combat veteran. I don't know what it's like to be in that situation. But I have lots of friends that do. While they were over fighting in other countries, I was riding in motorcycle clubs and raising hell and just being a genuine dumbass. But I respect people that have experience when it comes to talking about combat, battle rifles, and stuff like that. But like I said, they've both been around for over 50 years. They've both been tested and proven capable of doing what they need to do. 7.62, 5.56, both tested and proven cartridges. Both have their limitations and both excel in other areas. 7.62 by 39 hits harder, but it doesn't have the range of the 5.56. 5.56 reaches way out there, but it doesn't have a 62 grain green tip or even a 77 grain. It's just not going to have the knockdown power of 123 grain rifle cartridges. It is what it is. I hear people talk about the reliability of the AK and the reliability of the AR. I've run both platforms extensively as a citizen. Both are plenty reliable. I don't even watch these mud tests and all that crap because all the veterans I talk to, nobody would ever intentionally abuse their gun like that. And everybody I've talked to said that the 5.56 AR platform is plenty fine, plenty reliable, as long as it's kept cleaning that. And like they said, you're not in combat 24/7. There's always time to clean your gun at some point or another. AKs, they're throwaway guns. Nothing wrong with that. I mean, they're great at what they do. But when I first got into AKs, I could buy an AK parts kit for $100 or $110. The Romanian Guardi or G AK kits. Great. For another $100, I could buy, I think it was at the time, I don't know how many flats. But when you break it up, a bunch of us would go in and buy a bunch of flats. A bunch of us went in and we bought the jig and then we just passed it around for bending the flats. It really wasn't that expensive. For $225, I could buy a parts kit, a flat, all the internals, hammers, springs, trigger group, American-made gas piston and an American-made pistol grip, and have enough American-made parts on it to make it 922 compliable. You couldn't touch an AR for $225 when I was building AKs. I had one AR. I shot the AKs way more than the AR because they were cheap as hell, and if I burned a barrel out, Who cares? Because I use screws, I just take the screws out, throw the barrel and trunnion and bolt away, go to the parts kit, drill the rivets out, tap it, slide another one in, done. You know, the bolts are all matched to the trunnion and the barrel. Back on, you know, $110, gun's back up and running. With the AR, back then, ARs were just expensive as hell to buy. Well, now it's the other way around. AKs are expensive as hell to buy or build, and ARs are dirt cheap. So for me, you know, and 90% of the people out here in the world that aren't going to be in a combat situation, the AR is a better platform. If, you know, while most people will probably never in their life shoot their AR enough to burn the barrel out. So in that case, it doesn't really matter. But if you're a guy that shoots enough to burn a barrel out, unless you have all the tools to build the AKs, re-rivet it and that, take the rivets out, hope you don't mess the trunk or the receiver up trying to get the rivets out. It's a lot of money for all them tools, for the parts, and time consuming to do it, and headspace it, and all that stuff. Where AR, I got 3 ARs in the house right now. If a bolt was to break a spring for the extractor or something, I don't even have to fix it right then. I can just grab the bolt out of a different gun or a spare bolt out of the drawer, slap it in, it's going to run. If I burn a barrel up in 20 minutes with really cheap tools, I can swap barrels and the gun's back up. So, like I said, they both have their good points and their bad points. AKs, I've got one modern with a rail system forend and that, but there's no real good way to put optics on an AK. If you put them on the forend, they're way up ahead of you. The side mounts that I've tried and used over the years they don't hold zero very well on that. There's a couple that I wanted to try, but I'm not paying $350 or more for a Texas whatever, the dog leg mount where it hooks to the receiver cover and just flips up and that, and you remove the rear sight. So, you know, I prefer my AK with just AK iron sights. Even on my ARs though, I run a light on my ARs, and either like a red dot, Aimpoint red dot, or an ACOG or something simple. I don't run a ton of stuff. I don't run PEX and all that other stuff on there, night vision, because unless you're going to train or train a lot and get good with it, night vision is pointless for the average person. So if you were coming to this video to see me dog M26 Lemon Grenade, I'm not going to do that. I mean, I actually respect the guy. He's got combat experience. I've got other buddies that got combat experience that swear by the AR platform, that hate the AK platform. Who's right, who's wrong? Well, you know what? Every one of them guys that I know that were in the military, I think they're all right. Each one seen different scenarios, ran into different things in their combat roles. So one person may be good, you know, the AK may be fine for him, the other person prefers AR. I got buddies that were in the Army that they think the 20-inch barrel AR is the best platform out there because they were just grunts and they like the longer barrel, a little more range in that. Where the guys that were kicking in the doors, they wanted the M4s because the M4s were shorter. They were easier to maneuver inside buildings. I mean, it's just personal preference. I like my AKs with the side folder stock because when I fold my AK, my 16-inch barreled AK is the same length as my 10.5-inch barreled AR because of that big buffer sticking out. But I like my ARs because they're easy to work on, and if I burn it up, it's cheap to work on. You know, so when people ask me, what should I get? Well, how much are you going to shoot it? What are you going to do with it? If you're just an average person that wants a military style rifle for home security, for prepping in case of WROL or SHTF, then it doesn't matter. Get which one you like better. Main thing is just shoot it in that. Now that we have Trump in and he doesn't hate Russia, maybe we can start getting some more 7.62 by 39 ammo in this country cheap, where you can afford to really use your rifle. But like I said, I'm not hating on the guy. Like I said, I actually like the guy. I like his videos for the most part. I don't agree with him on some things, like the whole freaking rivet thing. I mean, the people that are really into AKs really get upset if you don't build AKs like perfect. But then you got the AR guys that if you're building a clone of an actual rifle, like the Colts from Vietnam era and that, they flip out if you don't have the right hand. I mean, Mark 12, when I built my Mark 12, I didn't have the exact Mark 12 handguard, the exact Mark 12 flash hider, and they were like, oh, that's not a Mark 12. Well, it's Mark 12 inspired. I mean, come on. But anyway, like I said, it's not a video to rail on the guy or nothing else. I just wanted to put out my point of view, because really I just hadn't been able to think of any content lately, and that just gave me the idea for some content. So hope everybody has a great day, and I'll see you on the flip side.